Oh, yeah.
Okay, go.
Sorry.
Okay, go.
What Winston means to me is complete devotion to their students.
Thou losteth thy leg.
Winston, in general, makes people comfortable.
Even in the beginning of the year.
Oh, wait, no. Wait.
But have babies.
It is a school, but it's more than that. It's a community.
Thou name is Lee.
Winston instills in you confidence. Just that right there was enough to really help me become an independent and happy learner. I enjoyed learning for the first time.
What he used to say before he came here was, I am stupid, and that's why I have to go here. Now he says, I learn differently, or I learn in different ways, so that's why I'm here.
Well, I think what Winston means to me is acceptance, being accepted for who you are, whether you have dyslexia or ADD or, Asperger's. No matter who you are, you can be accepted here and you won't be judged.
The world isn't framed for your kind of kid. It just is not. And that is something that you have to understand isn't necessarily bad news. It's just news.
No one wants to go to a school that makes them feel like they're different than everyone else that they know. And Winston didn't do that.
Winston Prep is a place where kids can find their voice. Winston Prep is a place where teachers want to learn and figure out why kids are struggling, where for the first time kids are successful, where kids believe for the first time that I can read, I can write, I can go to college, I can be a successful student.
I think we consider our students, we take our students at where they are, and I think we have the flexibility to look a little deeper. That's what we do. I don't think we look at we look at formal testing and all of that too. And we do all of that. But I think we take the time to look even deeper, and we're patient, and we're willing to try things out and see if they work. And if they don't work, then we can change it.
Winston works really, really hard to figure out a student's learning abilities right off the bat. And for a group of students to be put in a room where if you're a visual learner and you have, your 12 or 10 other classmates who are also visual learners in the same class, then the teacher can specifically work to teach all of the students the same way in the way that will help them.
The guiding philosophy at Winston Prep is essentially the idea that you cannot help students with learning problems succeed unless you understand who they are cognitively, academically, and socially, emotionally. So our fundamental approach is to assess and understand those components of each individual in a human way, in an educational way, to get to know them completely and always, so that we can design the program to meet their needs.
The biggest difference, I think, was that Winston told you what they were going to do to help your child, and then did it, and then told you what they were doing, and even modified it along the way.
Teenagers change every day to begin with, let alone students with learning struggles. Sometimes they learn in surges. They take off in ways that you can't possibly imagine, just in the course of a day or a week. Other times they struggle profoundly in a protracted way. And if the school and the curriculum and the system it's based on isn't designed to read and respond to those unpredictable changes, ultimately the program and curriculum is going to depart from the child's needs.
We were able to develop the Focus program where we hired a variety of specialists and talented educators. This is where every student at Winston Prep receives a remedial period every day as part of their curriculum. They are graded, they receive goals and objectives, they have their own methodologies, and that focus teacher acts as a facilitator for communication between family, student, and faculty. So there's an ongoing targeting of skill development, awareness, and independence.
Absolutely would draw global attention. She was on the cover of Time.
Communication between focus teachers and families is extraordinary. Because the focus teachers have caseloads of no more than 6 or 7 students, They're able to communicate as needed, at least weekly, if not more, about what is happening throughout this child's entire school experience. And that perspective can be brought to bear on 45 minutes a day, where all of the understanding comes to this place where students can learn and feel safe with a person who's completely dedicated to meet their needs in a one-on-one setting.
Commerce. Okay, go ahead.
And that focus period can be used for anything from struggling with a math problem or a difficult science concept to organizing a binder, to figuring out how to study for midterms, to playing a game of chess and using it as a way to work on impulsivity issues.
For this, be aware of appropriate body language.
He feels settled and stable and secure.
The focus teacher was constantly making sure that if anything nice happened, that you knew, which really is a whole new world, right? Usually you're getting this phone call that something miserable has happened, the phone rings and you turn dead white and drop your coffee, but from Winston it could also be a nice thing.
I've had dyslexia. I have dyslexia. I'm never going to lose dyslexia. But what Winston did for me was it made me realize that it was maybe more an asset to me than anything, because I don't give up on things. I'm always trying to focus. I was working on decoding. I was working on grammar especially. I wasn't able to articulate, and now I read Shakespeare, and we just read A Streetcar Named Desire, and I'm able to appreciate things, not just read them anymore, and have conversations about what they mean. It's gonna affect the rest of my life.
What we do at Winston is simply allow special and unique teachers to do their work, to do what comes naturally. The idea of assessment and understanding driving everything a school does is actually just good teaching. We have speech and language pathologists, we have learning specialists, reading specialists, but we also have people who are experts in math and science and history and literature, arts and athletics, and who come from a variety of different backgrounds outside of special education, all of whom probably do share one core characteristic, and that is that they have a little bit of a clinical mindset along with being deeply caring and understanding people.
Does this sound similar to anything that you've ever heard about that happened in the United States?
We are true to the idea of understanding who they are, basing everything we do on that. Everything else follows from there.
And I always say to teachers, you're a lit teacher or a math teacher, whatever. But first and foremost, you're a teacher student with disabilities, and then you're this other teacher. So just know that these are the people that are in front of you. Maybe they're smart, they're intelligent, hardworking, but they have specific kinds of difficulties, and you can't erase them. They have to learn how to deal with them, and you have to learn to understand where they're at, and that's the challenge, I think, all the time.
The best thing about Winston is that the teachers love what they're doing and they love the kids, and the kids know it. And once a kid knows that you genuinely like them, they're yours.
But yeah. Do I take out the two lines between the I and the V?
Well, go up there and try it again. Do the vowels and the consonants. After you syllabicate a word, what should you do? Right, read it over correctly.
It's difficult.
Conductive.
Wait, so right here?
Conductivity.
When they begin to see that the things that used to be hard for them are things that they're able to conquer, it's not basic anymore, it's essential. It means, oh, I can read. Things like calculation, things like decoding unfamiliar words don't seem inherently beautiful, but they are if you understand the hopes and dreams that those moments can unlock in students. And that's the beginning of the journey that ends up in Shakespeare class 5-6 years later. And all of the teachers in between understand the connection between the basics and the high-level academic work and what that means to an individual's life and the beautiful ways they're connected.
Now I know it's not.
I would say that my relationship with my son has improved significantly since he has attended Winston. Before that, especially I would say the year before he attended Winston, it was a very difficult relationship. There was lots of tension between us to the point where we probably didn't even speak. When we came to Winston, everything changed. As he was happier, I was happier. We would actually have open communication and talk to one another. We could smile. It was all the pressure was gone. I could be his mother again instead of being like another teacher or a drill sergeant. You know, he went from being tutored 3 days a week to not needing a tutor at all. He didn't take hours and hours to do his homework. He did it himself. I didn't have to be on top of him, and I didn't have to be stressed. And because he wasn't stressed, I wasn't stressed, and we could be mother and son again. So it has been wonderful being at Winston.
I call it my family because it really is my second family. Everybody knows everyone, and everyone, if you need help, you can always find a friend or a teacher to help you. If you just need someone to talk to, there's always somebody to talk to, and everyone's willing to help everyone. And everyone wants to just make this a great place to be.
Because we have this wonderful supportive community, our kids are able to take chances on stage, on sports fields, in an art classroom that maybe they weren't, what they were afraid to do before they got to Winston. Because I'm in a classroom, asked every day to do what's most difficult for me. Maybe standing on stage for the first time isn't so overwhelming anymore.
What's wonderful about the theater program is that every student, it's not just your athletic students, or it's not just those that are musically inclined.
We're going to get Ian and Chris off stage, change into the farmers so we can...
It's students that are from every language profile, every learning profile, and all types of talents, from singing to working the lights, working the sound, playing the drums, being in the cast, being on the crew, helping with wardrobe. There is an incredible sense of success, and they've taken risks, and they've achieved the highest standard.
Experiential education and sports are important at Winston because those are the places where the kids learn things very quickly that take a long time to learn in the classroom.
1, 2, 3, Winston!
How to overcome difficulty, how to push yourself, how to function in an unfamiliar environment and learn how to make that a comfortable place where you can excel are all challenges which very quickly deliver results on the sports field or on the adventure trip. And that's character education. That's how they and the people watching them learn to be great people. And it's not unusual. In fact, it happens all the time.
Well, one of the things I'm sure, every teacher's aware of is there's a time when the teaching stops, but the education has to continue. And that's the process that I think we're discussing here, which is, if you can do that, obviously that's success, because then the education occurs without the teacher, without the school, without the parent, and then you have a child. You no longer have a child, you have an emerging adult who you feel confident is going to be successful in this world.
Our goal for all of our students is true independence. And for most of our graduates, That includes going on to college.
This year is going to be hard. This year, about 25 of the kids who started with me, kids who sat in my office, read a page and took them a half an hour to read a page, but sat there, going off to college now, getting scholarships.
It's a powerful, resounding reminder that the term learning disabilities should not be taken literally. These kids are able to learn.
What makes a Winston graduation different than other schools is that there is no valedictorian. If you want to say a speech, you will be able to say a speech. If every person in the senior class wants to make a speech, every person in the senior class gets to make a speech. So Winston's approach to graduation is just very similar to their approach to everything else they do, which is to be equality in all things.
I came to Winston when I was 11 years old, a scared little 6th grader. It only took a couple of weeks before I felt like I could hold my own. I spent most of middle school adjusting to the fact that I was actually smart and that I could achieve great things. But I really became who I am today in high school. My teachers challenged me in ways that they never had before, which was a big confidence boost for me. In my junior year, I was picked for the NYU pre-college program. I did all of the same work as the college students, and I managed to get an A in the class.
When I was in elementary school, I never asked the teacher for help, nor understood the work because I was afraid to get teased by my classmates. It was during my freshman year I realized that I did not have to hide anymore because there were students who had learning differences as well. Throughout my 4 years at Winston Prep, I have gained many achievements, but mostly a family. Winston Prep's faculty and staff has been my most cherished cheerleaders. They have motivated me to keep on going and to never give up on my goals, no matter what obstacle comes my way.
Winston gave me what I needed most, an education and respect. My teachers did not waste time going on and on about how we were special and how, although our dyslexia made some things challenging, we were super creative and interesting. I did not need or want to hear any more of that than I already had. Winston taught and treated me with dignity and respect, making me feel like a student, not disabled. And I can never thank Winston enough for not being patronizing.
Winston is a positive place, and it helps home be more positive when things at school are going well, because school is a big part of the day.
My son was there for 2 years, and he has since left on his own accord and is now in public school. He's in the public high school. We have 2,000 students in our high school, and he is navigating it, and he is self-advocating, and he is kind of coming more into himself academically and socially, which is so incredible to us. But he got there because of the skills and the foundation that he got at Winston.
It creates a community that no other school has, and a closeness that, again, I don't think that any other place has.
Winston Prep is hope. It's a place where you just see change every day. But teachers just don't give up. And I think the kids know that. You don't give up when they're here.